So the next thing we're going to do is I'm really excited to have our small business panel, and they're selected because I've noticed that they are doing business with the government, and they're definitely game changers. And some of them are new to the government, but are showing a lot of success. And some have been in this for years. So I'm really excited to present our panel doing business with the government. First is Ms. Lisa Coker, and I'll give my panel a chance to introduce yourselves here in a minute, but we'll have Ms. Lisa Coker. She's the CEO of Infinite Management Solutions, and Dr. Japhus Doswell, he's the Executive Director of Juxtopia, and Dr. Reginald Parker, who's the founder of Optimal Technology Corporation. So thank you panel. So we could start with Dr. Reginald Parker. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. I've been doing work with the government for a while. Way back when I was a professor, was building stuff way back for the future combat soldiers, where we developed a series of nanocomposites and a 2.5 million IDIQ. We worked with AFRL and ARL, a lot of visits back and forth, and we have continued to work with the government. As to Optimal Tech, we lower our clients' energy bills through proprietary hardware and software. So we make our own solar modules, which are high efficiency, and we build ML programs, enabled monitoring, to figure out additional ways that we can reduce the cost of your energy by paying attention to how you use it. And so, that's what we do. So for the best energy solutions, get Optimal Tech.
Thank you so much. And so you also you've done work with universities and research institutions as well, right?
Yeah, collaborated with them and was one of them a little while back.
Okay, great. Thank you. Welcome. Let's see, Dr. Doswell, did you get a chance to, can we hear you now?
I think you can hear me, but you can't see me for some reason, but we'll proceed.
Okay.
my video's on, but I can't see myself, and I guess you all can't see me.
Yeah, I'm not.
If you have a picture, just turn the video off and you'll see the picture.
Yeah, just probably just see my name here.
Yeah.
Well, we'll do that.
Yeah, I don't know if your camera is covered up or what have you.
Oh, no, it's working fine. It's worked on before, so.
Oh, okay. You never know, with technology, things are always Murphy's Law, something pops up. But
Right.
At least we can hear you, so that's great. Unfortunately, you probably got, put on your good shirt for the day for
I
nothing.
did. Right on the dry cleaners.
Man, we won't be able to see it. You have to send us a picture.
All right.
So next we have, go ahead and have Ms. Lisa Coker. If you could introduce yourself to the group, please. Thank you.
Absolutely. So Anissa, first and foremost, thanks for having me. And thanks for putting on this awesome event. I am Lisa Coker, the owner of Infinite Management Solutions. It's a very long name, so we go by IMS to shorten it. We are a woman-owned small business, veteran-owned small business located in Dayton, Ohio. And we like to call ourselves professional problem solvers. And so we come alongside leaders and help them lead their organizations. So take their programs to the next level. We turn things around if they aren't going in the right direction. And we are, no kidding, a strategic partner to all of our clients. So we are a client-centric company. We do not play when it comes to our clients. We want to see them succeed, and so efficiently and effectively. So call IMS if you ever need capacity or help, or you're drowning, give us a call. We'll come alongside you and get you going. So we're excited Thank you, Anissa, again for having me.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, Dr. Doswell, could you go ahead and tell us about your company and your experiences working with the government?
Yes. So I'm Dr. Japheth Doswell. The company is Juxtopia. We're accessible online, juxtopia.com. PhD in computer science. And recently we secured a Department of Defense contract to outfit every combat medic within the United States with our custom augmented reality hardware and software. So we developed hardware, biomedical applications that are military, mill-grade standard, and also software to improve the performance of warfighters before they go into the battlefield. And the experience with the Department of Defense was great. We initially did research back in 2005 and 2008 to build the requirements, and those requirements helped to lead to money and to build the industry, pretty much mixed reality for combat medic training. And from, as we know in the DoD world, no requirements, no money. We helped to drive those requirements, and consequently the ROI was for us to secure a contract so that we can really have a market share in improving warfighter performance, especially military medical personnel.
Thank you so much. So as you can hear, we have a very esteemed panel and as we go through getting some lessons learned from this panel here. So I want to start out with, and I'll start with you, Dr. Parker. What are some of your biggest lessons learned and advice to other defense startup hopefuls that are looking to try and start getting into the working with the business game?
You have to understand what you have at the core, not at what you're selling to everybody else. And once you understand what you have, then in your conversations with program managers and with folks who are going to be your clients in the government, you can figure out how you can pivot that to what. And a lot of people want to sell exactly what they have to anybody, and you know, it may be a great solution for the commercial world, but that means nothing to your customer. So you have to understand your customer needs. Ultimately, if it's a vitamin, that's nice, but people don't buy vitamins the same way they buy cures for pain. And so you have to find what their pain point is and go for that. And that's the only thing that sells at the end of the day.
Thank you, thank you. Is anybody else that would like to add on to that question?
I would echo exactly what he said, and I would also tell new businesses or new business owners, don't get discouraged. Do not give up. Be persistent. You don't have to be pushy, but be persistent. Clients, leaders are very busy, and it's not that they're ignoring you, it's just they have to get to their emails. And just keep promoting your business. Eventually, someone will need what you have to offer. And again, knowing what your potential need, their pain points are, and marketing to that, I think you'll succeed. I know you'll succeed. Just don't give up. Don't take it personal when you don't get a response from an email. They're trying to get through them.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. So speaking of pain points, Lisa, you mentioned you have sometimes you get into pain points. So what are some of the challenges and pain points for working with the Department of Defense that you've experienced?
So I can tell you, having commercial clients and government clients, that government moves a little slower. And so if you only have commercial experience and that is your benchmark, you'll think that you won't get business with the government. So be patient. That's what I would say. Be patient. Market your services to as many potential clients as possible. And I would say network. So if you don't have a network, that's going to be your biggest pain point because you don't know how to reach the potential client. So that's been mine, being patient.
Great. So, Dr. Doswell, I know that you've had a lot of lessons learned and learning opportunities in the several years that you've done some work with the government. How have some of the pain points that you've seen led to opportunities, or do you have any examples on how you can take those pain points and execute them into opportunities?
Absolutely. We've done, Juxtopia has done work with National Institutes of Health, NASA, Department of Defense, National Science Foundation, and we've had a lot of rejections, if you call those rejections, meaning submitting proposals, giving reviews or summary statements, or debriefings, as the Department of Defense calls them. And sometimes one can look at those debriefings or summary statements or rejections as, well, you know what, they don't like my product. But in our case, we flipped that around and looked at how these critiques can then be addressed so that when we do a resubmission of the application or proposal, then we can strengthen the product that we're trying to pitch. And oftentimes that's led into a better quality product on our end. I'm from Baltimore, so like perseverance is, quickly goes into grit. So having some true grit, getting knocked down, get back up, don't quit, almost like a warrior's mindset, persevere. And so it definitely teaches that as well. So that's an example. Those are examples of how the various pain points we face can really turn into success. For example, the $2.1 million contract on something that's very novel today. We had an all African American team on engineering team on that, many from HBCUs, and even the National Institutes of Health. Lots of denial on proposals, and then some wins. And so we go for the wins, keeps us driving.
Thank you. Dr. Parker, did you want to tag in there? Did you have anything that you wanted to add to that?
Yeah, I was dying to be quiet, but since you asked, people like to spend money with people they know, meaning you have to get to know the folks. And as Lisa was saying, market, network. This helps the DOD and any government agency get to know who you are. And as Doswell was saying, he sends out a lot of proposals, therefore he becomes known in a known quantity. And each time you win, you have that now on your resume, and that helps them to say, okay, this person got money, they spent the money well, and we look well, so let's spend it again. No one likes to risk their money on something that they don't know what they're going to get. So past experience helps, but if you don't have past experience, get that person to know you and show them your commercial past experience can be used in the government world.
Absolutely. So I wanted to ask you, for those that have done some work with HBCUs, what other opportunities have you experienced working with HBCUs, and what are some things that our HBCUs and researchers could do to strengthen their participation in government programs such as the STTR program?
I guess, you can go ahead, Dr. Barker.
No, you're first.
I would, and I used to be the distinguished chair of biotechnology at Elizabeth City State University. So from a
I have a friend
professor standpoint, I can talk about that. Oftentimes, for faculty at HBCUs, because they're teaching institutions primarily, that's how they were formed, and now more and more transitioning into research institutions. The professors are inundated with classes, which are definitely hard for the professors then to take time to write proposals. However, the STTR, if it's done right, has a monetizable return on the investment that if the patent is licensed, for example, from an HBCU, like what we did with Morgan State University and we created the very first company from Morgan State on an STTR. If it were, to get commercialized, then that means that ROI probably can offset some of the loss of research funding over time. So understanding the economics of the STTRs and allocating more time for professors at HBCUs so they can spend more time writing proposals, I think that would be a benefit, but that requires policy change, I believe.
Yeah, like Dr. does, well, I was a research professor, not only in an HBCU, but also a PWI. So I did FAMU and I did North Dakota. And for us to be competitive, I'm talking about HBCUs, we must benchmark ourselves against our competition and be able to reduce a lot of the overhead on getting out a proposal and to give faculty all the resources that are required, because it's a net gain for the organization, whether or not they're STTRs or just grants in general. That's why we send our kids there, not only for the teaching, but for the research opportunities and for the job opportunities. The more research you do with the government, the more jobs you're able to send your kids to ultimately. So HBCUs, it will do well to benchmark themselves against PWIs in this financing opportunity.
Thank you.
And we have IMS, we've recently brought on 2 interns. So from HBCUs, we're proud of our new interns. We have one from Morehouse University, Morehouse College, and then we have another one from NCAT. And so we are excited. They are coming in with great ideas. They are challenging everything that we do within IMS. And when I say they have grit, they have grit. They follow up. So I'm proud. I'm not an HBCU grad, but I love what I'm seeing from my new interns. And so we look forward to partnering with our HBCUs.
Excellent. And I mean, I agree. I just have to caveat that as in all universities, we also have an outreach to Appalachian community of universities and increasing the research institution focus in those universities as well. And some HBCUs do fall into that area, like Alabama State, Alabama A&M, and so we're reaching out to them as well. And so it's definitely the way of the future, is to not just be a teaching organization, but really capitalize on the funding opportunities that are there for the research side, because that's what's going to keep that institution really going. I know in my experience at Tennessee State and working on some of my research and with Vanderbilt University right down the road in Nashville, and partnering with another university to do my thesis on functional MRI was instrumental as well on ensuring that I had some of the top-notch research laboratories, and there's things that Tennessee State had that they didn't have, so it was a great partnership. And so it's always good to really connect with your network and look at the resources that are around and available. So thank you for that. So I wanted to see from you all if you know of, outside of all of the opportunities that we've shared so far today, are there other additional insights into government funding opportunities that you've seen in your experience that have been maybe really instrumental in what you're doing, or something that people should really be taking advantage of, just kind of that diamond in the rough that's out there program?
Yes. Before I mention that, most of our research partners at HBCUs. Both my parents attended, so I'm the only child. I have no excuses that I have to get it done. That's for Panhellenic as well. So, I pledged KA size, so the HBCUs wouldn't give me any reprieve if I didn't collaborate like that. So I am extremely committed to our HBCUs. So the other funding opportunities that we've seen in Juxtopia include challenge.gov. There's a lot of opportunities there. One that's like diamond in the rough, if you will, is the X Prize. Those are huge prizes, like 15 to 30 million. We participated in the Google Lunar X Prize competition years ago, like 2008, to put a autonomous robotic craft on the moon. That was a challenge. And also to look for water, using like a near infrared spectrometer. And so we had an all-student team, mostly from HBCUs, that participated. And even though we didn't win a challenge, it was a great opportunity for HBC participation, student apprentices and internships, and then to really test out the engineering rigor. So I definitely would look at the X Prize and the X Prize challenges as well. Challenge.gov as well.
Great, thank you so much. Those are really, really good insights into those programs.
Lisa, do you want to say something?
You can take it. Dr.
So I'll say 3 things.
Okay.
Usually, and I'll be quick, usually during this time, kids are in school and they can do what they call undergraduate research programs, opportunity programs. They're not going to be able to do that now. And a lot of these students can actually do these undergraduate research programs with you, and they're local because they're doing college online. And so reaching out to the universities that you will be interested in working with, there may be an opportunity to do it for a class. So that's a low cost way of you getting interns, doing a project with you, and then getting working with an organization that's supporting a greater mission. Second, getting certified as a minority contractor will actually enhance your ability to work with the government, because the government has to spend a certain part of its budget on these programs, and they would much rather get a higher ROI program other than toiletization as a way of spending that money. So, go at something that actually is going to help the warfighter. And the third thing is that if you have something unique nobody else can offer, then sole source contracts are something that's available in addition to the STTR and SBIR. And if that is not something that's there, you can talk to the program manager so that it becomes something issued in the next funding round as something that the government is interested in getting after.
Those were
Awesome.
excellent, Dr.
Awesome.
Parker.
Yeah, those are key.
Boy, so.
Those are key, very key. Thank you so
Right.
much. So,
You know what?
go ahead.
Lisa, I would also like to piggyback. One of the things that we have found extremely helpful is, like we said, fostering those relationships. And that's not only going after potential clients, but partners, those prime contractors that are already on contract to do business with the government. If you are pitching your services to even them, to say, I provide this niche, like this is my niche, and I know that your client, needs this or could use this. When you come to the table with work or solutions to companies that are already have a contract vehicle, you are very appealing to them. You are extremely appealing. And so come to the table not empty-handed. Come to the table with relationships, with solutions, and offer it up to those prime contractors to say, I would love to do business with you, I would love to learn under you, and I would love to use your contract vehicle because I have work. So that's what we found to help us be successful as well. Fostering those relationships has been critical.
Yeah, awesome, because that actually goes right into 2 questions that we had from some of our participants today was, how do you partner with prime and in subcontracting roles, and what are some contracting vehicles that are in place to partner with more prime contractors, and how to get into that. Let's see. So we do have. Go ahead.
You want me to take that one?
Go ahead. Yeah.
Okay, so what we found extremely helpful is to get out to various networks. So what we have in Dayton, Ohio, and it's a national organization, is called Women in Defense. They accept men, so don't be afraid of the name. But Women in Defense, there are no kidding decision makers, clients, prime contractors, get in the game and really get to know the people that are already working in DOD. And I can tell you, it's a close-knit community. Like, we help one another out. We really do. But you have to get in the game, show your face, show up, and it won't be long. So subcontracts, there are a lot of them out there. There are a lot of them prime. You have Northrop, you have Boeing, you have KBR, there's a ton of them. And we know if you get out there to these resource guides that you're gonna get from Ms. Lumpkin and Angela after this event, get plugged in, stay connected to the social networks, and attend the colliders. I've gotten 3 clients from going to colliders. They work. It works. It's set up for your success, but you have to show up.
Can I jump on top of that? Not only go to the colliders, also do the challenge things, because I just came out of an energy challenge where I helped to actually scope what DOD is going to do for energy from now until 2045.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I'm sure that what I do was written in there. If you're not there, you're not going to speak for it. So now the last thing is not what you know, is not who you know, is who knows you and what are they willing to say about you in a room that you're not in. We all know Barack Obama, but does he know you and what would he say about you in a room that you're not in? And so all of these companies behind me, I've generated working relationships with them, so now they're talking about me and my company in rooms that I'm not in, and I get inbound from all over the world as a consequence. You see Mila over my shoulder. One of the partners there is a former DOD contractor, and so she's able to reach out to contractors on my behalf. And so you know, it's more than just not networking directly with that person. Sometimes it's the person next to the person that will get you in the door.
Yes. Thank you.
Yeah, those are good points. To elaborate on that, focusing on STTRs and SBIRs from DOD, Lockheed Martin, Raytheon, and I believe Northrop Grumman, they have topics that they are interested in. So they also often have their list that if you apply to their, speak with someone in their SBIR office, for example, at Lockheed or Raytheon, then they become potential distribution channels for the product that may be transitioned from phase 3. So that's one tactical strategy. The other is what we found pretty useful is that, let's say a predominantly white institution or an HBCU partners on an STTR, sometimes they'll be reciprocal, and then they'll go after grants as prime, and then small companies as subcontracts. So the cash flow can continue, especially in SBIR phase 1, phase 2, when there's a value of death between you getting your award from the phase 2, and you can actually survive. The tactical method that we've used is subcontracting to HBCUs, so that we can float the storm early on, and then piggyback on the phase 2 when that gets awarded. So those are the 2 tactical strategies that I'd recommend for partnership.
Perfect. So I wanted to, I'm gonna give this question to Lisa, because I know that you can really give some valuable insight. But do you have any suggestions for doing business with the government or the Air Force if your company doesn't offer a widget but a service?
Okay, so the question had to deal with the person doesn't have a product, but they offer services.
Yeah, they don't have
Okay.
they're not selling a part. It's more of a, they provide a service to the government.
Absolutely. Okay, so leaders need help. Leaders need services as well. Leaders need help thinking through strategies. Leaders need help executing their strategies. Even as a leader myself, I have so many things that I want to tackle, but I only have so many hours in a day. So if I had a company come alongside me and say, hey, guess what? We can add capacity to you. We're going to take all of your, let's just say per se marketing, or we're going to take all of your accounting, and we're going to do it for you. Guess what? That frees me up to work on the things that I really want to work on, that I'm really good at. So service industry is just as needed and lucrative as a product-based business. I like to think of our solutions as our product, right? We provide reports, we provide strategies. That's a product because it turns into something. So get in the game. Don't be discouraged. It could be a product or a service. Just get in the game, stay engaged, stay informed, get plugged in. We need you. The Air Force needs all of us. So get in the game.
Thank you, thank you. So next question, anybody can jump in. How do universities create the nimbleness necessary to pivot and work with agile technology businesses such as yourselves, where agility is essential? Did you guys get all that?
Well, I saw that question. One, you'll see in the chat that Dr. Jesse Edwards from FAMU, he and I are one. When I was a professor there, he actually worked with me. So now that I'm no longer a professor, he and I talk about doing projects, and because he's there on the ground, he can be nimble within the university and help me to move through what is usually bureaucratically difficult. So, get a strategic person. He's a senior professor, so that makes it a lot easier.
Great.
That's, I guess the tactical strategy here is decomposition. So if you have a product, and the product can be decomposed into various components, and you're working within HBCU, and the research professor may be inundated with a lot of classes and other responsibilities that are administrative, the students, the customers, become very valuable research assistants to help get product done, right? At that small component level. And oftentimes the training for that student then is determined, and that student is getting proficient in the skill set that subsequently can transition to the small business. So yeah, that's a nimble way of looking at the students that are high volume more than the research faculty that oftentimes, because they have young brains that can execute if disciplined and focused, that becomes a nimble way from our experience. We have a lot of apprentices that rock and roll.
Excellent answers and insight. This has been a great panel. I think there's a few more questions in the chat. And so I wanted to ask, someone asked, is for government contracting, especially in tech, do you find social economic certifications more valuable than industry certifications?
I guess I can answer that. Juxtopia has none of the certifications like 8A or minority those certifications. We compete straight up, head up. My mother worked with Perry Mitchell, who created the 8A program from Baltimore, but we didn't participate in that per se. We focused a lot on STTR because STTR has a sole source privilege based on legislation, and it still exists that any STTR awardee is like an 8A, and if the unique niche product or service is developed and attractive to a government agency, then that's any amount of money, any duration of time sole source. So we looked at that as our win, and then everything else we compete head to head. So
I'm so glad that you mentioned that, Dr. Doswell, because if I could foot stomp anything, the data rights that you keep throughout the life through it's even up to 20 years now with STTR and SBIR, and then also as soon as you get that phase 1, you can go from a phase 1 to a phase 3, which just means anybody in the government that kind of aligns to what you won your phase 1 for can go to VFR direct sole source contract to you. And that's just something valuable that you can always have in your back pocket.
One more nugget. In engineering, most of our HBCUs have fantastic programs there. You can sponsor a design challenge during their senior design class, because professors are always looking for a senior design project, and that can be written right into your project, and you now have 3 to 4 students working on that engineering design for you and with you.
Thank you. So I'm gonna add one last question here, just to kind of go around the room. What is one thing that keeps you up at night as an entrepreneur, and how do you go overcome it?
I have a staff of folks that I gotta make sure on a month-to-month basis, COVID or not, have to take care of the family. So cash flow is the only thing I know, and I gotta keep it going.
That's it. That's it in a nutshell. Cash flow. That is it.
Yeah, I'm chuckling because my father taught me, he's an entrepreneur. He used to be a Department of Defense contractor. And he would always say cash flow. So yeah, I would definitely reiterate that. But also, for Juxtopia, a lot of our employees and our engineers are underrepresented minority engineers. What drives me and motivates me every day to make the cash flow is to sustain and continuously improve their skill proficiency so they can be the best of the best. And if they leave Juxtopia, they can always represent the Juxtopian model of the propensity for perfection. And that right there drives and motivates me.
Thank you. So, hand clap. If we were in a room today, you guys would get a standing ovation. I appreciate this esteemed panel, and I mean, what great insight that you shared today with our partners that we have and participants today. So thank you so much for your time. And are people able to reach out to you via LinkedIn or your website? If you want to put that in the chat or shout that out, and people can contact you if you're open to that.
I'll put mine in the chat.
All right. Well, thank you.
You can see mine right in my name. Get Optimum Tech is all of our social.com is our website.
Thank you, Dr. Parker. All right. So with that, we're going to take about a 5-minute break to maybe get us back on time. We'll start at 1:45, and we're going to have Miss Mary Margaret Evans and Mr. Dave Nestick with Apex, telling you about some more resources and small business opportunities.